Even if Eric Avila's goal would have went in, I don't think Toronto FC would have won that game. Do you? Do you really think so? How you doing, everybody? Tim here once again, coming to you a long time after my last video blog, because it's been a while since TFC's last game, and once again, for the 11th time this year, for the 10th time, I should say, in 11 games, we're talking about a Toronto FC loss in Major League Soccer, and it was an ugly 2-0 loss. And putting aside the double goal post that Eric Avila hit, I don't think TFC would have won that game under any circumstances last night. There's a short list of positives and a long list of negatives I'm going to get through, and I'll pose a couple of questions at the end that I want you, hopefully, down below here in the comments section to respond to. I think Luis Silva looked pretty decent in the second half. He put a nice ball in through to Danny Kouvermans, who I'll get to in the list of negatives in a moment. He looked pretty lively and pretty active in the second half. Even though the team lost 2-0, I did like the fact that Paul Mariner seems much more of an engaged, much more of an active, in-game presence and coach than his predecessor Aaron Winter was. I think obviously Mariner got the call wrong when it comes to who started last night, considering that the team did play a little better in the second half than they did in the first after they made some substitutions. But I think therein lies the short list of positives. And man, oh man, oh man, were there a lot of negatives last night. And one really small little thing that I think is quite representative of the attitude that a lot of players on this team actually have, that I'll get to right at the end, that absolutely infuriated me last night and made me drop the F-bomb on Twitter about 4 times in one post, which is something I've never done before. Danny Kouvermans, he's a designated player. He's a pedigreed striker. He should be putting away, I don't know, 1 out of every 2 chances maybe. Last night he had 2 great chances and put neither of them away. He scored 1 goal, 2 goals I should say, in Major League Soccer this season, 1 in Montreal and 1 against Philly off his knee. So I think we're not getting good return for a $2 million striker right now. 2 goals conceded from 2 idiotic defensive miscues again. For the love of God, how can this team for 6 years now still be making what looked to me as a rank amateur at best, but what looks to me as an observer as one of the simplest things in the sport, and that's properly man-mark people on set pieces. I'll guarantee you that the volley that the Kansas City player scored for the second goal on Saturday night is going to be goal of the week candidate. There's no way that he should be given all that space, and he was given the space to do an amazing volley. Great goal, good credit to him. It should not have happened. Mariner got the starting 11 wrong, I think it's pretty fair to say. I personally think that a speedy team, a creative team, a team that plays a 4-3-3, ironically, in Kansas City, it might have been a better idea to maybe play some fresher and, dare I say it, some faster players up top to actually get at Kansas City a little bit better. I think Nick Silva, who by all accounts is not Mariner's favorite player, but who was looking quite good under Aaron Winter in the last few games, might have been a worthy starter for Reggie Lamb. João Plata might have been a better bet, especially being from Ecuador, being used to the heat, and being a pacey player who could have stretched the Kansas City midfield and defense a little better over a player who frankly looked gassed in Ryan Johnson, who came and played 90 minutes after playing 2 games for his country, Jamaica, in the international break. But again, that's just me. And now it brings me to the little thing that really set me off last night, and it was Miguel Aceval. And if you weren't watching the broadcast last night closely, you might have missed it. About halfway through the second half, Gold TV cut to the sideline where 5 or 6 TFC players and this is before TFC made their last substitution, Julian de Guzman. When he came on at about, I think, like the 65th or 70th minute, there was, 5 or 6 TFC players that were, running up and down the sidelines to keep warm. And one of them was Miguel Aceval. And I emphasize the word ass in Aceval. He's laughing, absolutely laughing, and joking around with a teammate when the team was playing dire soccer and was down 2-0. And it set me off. I was so furious that a player could literally be so far out of touch with what was happening on the field, what was happening with the fans. I just felt it was so disrespectful for him to actually just be kidding and joking around when there was absolutely nothing funny going on last night whatsoever. I know MLS rules are pretty strict when it comes to fines. I would actually find some non-monetary way to make him take his job, dare we say it, a little more seriously. Maybe he should be cleaning the jock straps with a toothbrush or something for the rest of the week. I don't know. But boy, oh boy, oh boy, was that sort of emblematic of a lot of the problems I think that this club has been having in this brutal Major League Soccer season. I think perhaps the last thing I really want to mention about the game itself was how dire the team was overall in the first 45 minutes. Frings looked poor. Koevermans looked poor. Avila, the double goalpost aside, looked gassed. Ryan Johnson looked gassed. Eckersley was a bull in a china shop. Daniel Henry was out of position. Milos Kosic, well, I can't blame him for anything last night. But a lot of players did not cover themselves with glory in that first half. I think as a team, it was probably one of the worst 45 minutes that we've seen all season. And that was, again, a very disappointing / disheartening way for the Paul Mariner era to start. And I'm a little stuffed up, and please forgive me. The team has Wednesday in Houston coming up, and then they're back home to play Mariners' old team, the New England Revolution, on Saturday. So they've got a tough road to hoe. Houston's a tough place to go play. It's a hot place to go play. They're going to be traveling and living in hotel rooms on those meager per diems that MLS actually has, while you've got a coach trying to implement a brand new system. I don't know. I don't envy Paul Mariner there. Is it going to be more of a horror show like it was in Kansas City last night? Or is the team going to actually make some progress, which I think the team desperately needs? If you take a look again down below, folks, at the post that I wrote Saturday pregame about the beginning of the Paul Mariner era, I set what I think are what I'd like to see the club set as 3 realistic goals for the rest of the season. One is to play to their potential and maybe, in a 1 in 100 chance against, Santos Laguna again, do something in the Champions League. Number 1. Number 2, I want the team to play hard every game in, game out. They didn't do that last night. They did for parts of the second half, but not for the first. And I want them to catch the Montreal Impact. I don't want our new neighbors down the road gloating that they, as an expansion team, have actually beaten a 6-year team in Toronto FC in the standings. Yes, the Impact have 3 games in hand, but they've scored. Their goal difference is 11 better than Toronto's, and they're 12 points ahead of TFC right now. Oh, by the way, Vancouver won as well last night. The Impact opened up Stade Saputo, and they beat the Seattle Sounders 4-1. What can we say? It's getting kind of old talking about losses, and I really hope that the team really tries and tries harder than they actually have. It's not a very good team in a lot of places, in a lot of positions. There's a lot of bad contracts on that team. There's a lot of players that are underperforming. There's a lot of players that probably are not good enough But the team is, for the most part, what it is for the rest of the season. The only way that they're going to improve is if they actually play harder than they've actually been playing. We only saw that for bits and pieces last night, and that's probably the most disappointing thing. So again, I'm going to try to keep documenting this TFC journey of ours. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate your comments, good and bad. And we'll see you on the blog on Thursday after TFC's game on Wednesday at Houston. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.